welcome to the 1% podcast, and we are back with a new EP. I have my host.
Hey y'all, it's Zai. And we have a special, oh my God, a special guest. We have my mentor, Miss Real Estate herself, Miss Kimolyn Adams Howard.
Welcome to the 1%.
Yes.
Well, my goodness, that's
Miss
an
Real Estate.
introduction.
Yes.
I am so happy to be here.
Yes, so guys, this is my real estate mentor. I've been knowing you for a very long time.
Yep, almost 2.5 years since we met each other.
Yes. So, for the people that don't know who you are, please tell them a little bit about yourself and how you got into real estate.
Okay, so thank you, Zai. She's so sweet. My name is Kimolyn. I don't know about Miss Real Estate herself, but I mean, we'll take it. I like it. So I actually work with Keller Williams. That's my broker. I am a part of the Williams team. We just made history, actually. In this region, we became the first Black-owned real estate team that grossed $1 million in commission.
Wow.
Not houses, commissions.
In commissions in 2021. So
That's great.
most definitely love what I do, who I'm, partnering with. I actually got into real estate. It was 3 years for me in January. So I have to celebrate that. Stats show that most agents don't make it past 3 years. So I'm super excited about that. But before I got into real estate, I was a banker. And one of my clients came in to me, one of my favorites came in and was like, why don't you just become a realtor? And I was like, why you say that? And I think it was because she was dealing with a real estate agent and she wasn't getting the type of service and care that she wanted. But when she would come into the bank, even though I would have 15 minutes with her, I would most definitely dive in and take care of my clients. So later that night, I thought about it, did a little research, and that's when I found my mentor, Rod Williams. He is most definitely so amazing. And I found him on Facebook. And I just hit him up, and I was like, hey, how do you become a realtor? And he was super quick with his response. He's like, hey, nice to meet you. I went to a school here in Georgia, told me, what I needed to do. And I was like, okay, cool. And I didn't say anything else. So I went back to work. And I'm telling you, God has a way of making you uncomfortable when you are not taking heed to the things that he's trying to get you to do, right? So every time I went to work, I love what I did, right? But then just certain things started to happen, like fees. We started to charge people, and it just didn't sit well with me, with my clients. And I remember God told me, you need to go be a realtor. So I signed up for a school, and I'll go more into, how it works. But I did sign up for a 2 weeks class, and I failed. But I didn't stop. But then I quit my job, and I was like, okay, this is where I need to go. But I quit. I did. And let me tell you, faith most definitely is what I've been using to stay afloat in this business that's ever changing. But yeah, and that's how I became a realtor. I know it sounds kind of, I don't know. Sometimes when I tell that story, people are like, God told you? He really did.
He does.
He really told me. So yeah.
He definitely does.
I would have never met you if I didn't get into
Yes,
this, right?
that is definitely true. Do you have any questions, Alexa?
I actually do. So I know a lot of people, I'm not saying it's a trend at all, but a lot of people want to become a real estate agent. They seem like it's the best way, there really is no right way, of course, but a good way to start and just get your feet a little bit wet into real estate. But what are some obstacles that you have encountered when, starting your business?
So I would say in the first year, the biggest thing for you is to make sure you find your groove, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, they look on Instagram or even on my Instagram, and I don't even think I be flexing like that. Like, really, I don't, right? Because I know how much work goes into everything that I do, right? But But sometimes that can be misleading to people who see, oh, look, she looks happy every day.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, she's having a great time. Look at those beautiful houses. Look how she dressed. Look at the people that she's around. So they think that it's easy.
They don't see the reality.
That's 10%, maybe even 5% in this market.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Zai and, you know, a few of my mentees have been with me when I'm working. And this cute stuff, you know, that's literally the small piece of it. It's a lot of work. So I would just say, if you're deciding to do real estate or anything that you're deciding to do, this is a business, right? It's not fun in the beginning, right? Because you're learning and you have people that are trusting you with hundreds and thousands and sometimes millions of dollars, right? So it's bigger than, oh, let me get on social media and show people I'm walking around $1 million houses. You have to most definitely handle yourself and conduct yourself as a businessman or woman, right? But then be realistic. If you don't have the money to just be in real estate by yourself, like not having a side hustle or a job or something like that, I wouldn't advise me personally just jumping out here, because it can be a roller coaster until you find your groove, right?
Absolutely.
So I feel, and like I said, this is just my opinion, some people jump out here with nothing and and they flourish, right? But that's not everybody's situation. So my situation, I was still working my full-time. When I quit my job, when I quit banking to go into real estate, after being a realtor for 6 months, I had to go get a job because I wasn't making any money.
Wow.
Cause I had maybe one closing, but I got bills, I got kids, I have 2 children. So that one closing check is not gonna keep me afloat 6 months, right?
Absolutely not.
So I had to make the decision, oh, okay, am I going to try to keep up with the Joneses of what I see, or am I going to be realistic with myself and say, oh, okay, let me go ahead and get me something that's going to keep the bills paid.
And that's the reality of it.
Yep.
A lot of people see on social media the luxury
Yes.
of
Oh, yeah.
having the freedom. And, you know, we all want to build generational wealth, but it comes with a cost.
Yes.
And most people aren't willing to pay that.
Well, when we talk about freedom, that's so funny that you say that, because what freedom? I actually work more in my business
work more
now
now.
than I did, you know,
Have a
as
job.
a W-2, right? So
Exactly.
that's not
Yeah.
true. Don't let people bamboozle you into thinking. Now, are there some days I can wake up later than others? Yes. But those times that I'm sleeping, they cost me money.
Yeah.
So when I got to get up, whenever I do get up, I got to hustle double time to make up for that time that I took the day off, or there's no
Exactly.
PTO, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
You don't make no money if you're not trying.
No,
You don't move, the bank account don't move.
No, it doesn't. And, you know, we don't get paid every week. That's the biggest thing that people have to make sure they understand, right? So, yeah, you may get those big closing checks, but just think about it. If you don't have another closing for another 2 or 3 months, that check has to float you
Yes.
all the way until that next closing. And then we don't count money until it's in our bank account. I don't know about, you know, every other realtor, but, you know, deals have fallen through at the closing table.
Yep.
So until I get my check and I deposit my check and my check clears,
Then it's yours.
then it's mine, correct?
Yeah. So tell everybody about the beginning of your journey. I know you talked a little bit about how you had to get a job, but how was it? Did you like go into like a team? Were you by yourself? How was it?
Okay, so I hear that a lot. And with me being 3 years in the game now, they're like, well, why are you on a team? So when you first come out of real estate school, well, let me say this first. In terms of, okay, I want to be a realtor, right? What does that mean? If you're 17 years old, you can go and enroll into a real estate school. There's several here in Georgia. We actually, Keller Williams, my brokerage actually has a partnership with the real estate school that helps to reimburse you back once you get your license and you have your first closing.
That's amazing.
So in essence, it's free,
Yep,
right?
it is.
But you have to, it's an investment though, and that's a great way to help you understand the nature of this business. You are going to have to put something up first in order to reap it. We call it planting seeds, right? And there's no harvest if you don't plant any seeds.
Absolutely.
I mean, if y'all know about some that you can just harvest, please let me know, because I would like to get out there and pick. But the first thing you want to do is go to a real estate school. Usually, it's not usually, but 75 hours is what you'll have to get when you go there.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So if you are 17, because oh my gosh, lightning speed, graduated school, high school, got a real estate license. Like when she told me she was going to do it, I completely believed her because she was so like, Kimolyn, 100%. As soon as I graduate, I'm going to be a realtor. Well, guess what? That's exactly what she did, right? So if you're 17 and you're about to graduate, say this May, and you're like, oh, okay, I want to be a realtor, you can still go and take the pre-licensing course and get your 75 hours, but you can't go active until you turn 18. So once you go to a real estate school and you do your 75 hours, it's going to be a test that you have to take to test out of that class. If you do not test out of that class, you do not move forward to the state exam. Some classes have it to where they'll give you 2 chances where you have to make a certain score. And then if you don't test out on the second chance, you have to take the class all over again.
Yep.
Okay. Now right?
Ridiculous.
Right?
You have to study. You have to.
You have to, and you have to be extremely dedicated to it, because here's the thing: it's not like common sense. You have to know that material that's inside of that booklet. You can't just fluff and just, I'm just going to, no, it's not like that. So once you pass that, then you can go take your state exam. And there's, fees and stuff like that associated with it. They only do it, you have to make an appointment. So it's not like you just walk in, hey, I passed my test, what's up? No, it's not like that. And then once you finish that and you get your license, there's a few things that you have to do. And then that's when you have to go and associate yourself with a broker. Okay? In real estate school, you will understand the importance of a broker.
Yep.
I don't want to get into that because, for one, I'm not a broker. And for two, it gives you, I'm just letting you know up front, you're going to have to associate yourself with a broker. So when you do that, then that's when you have the question of, do I want to be a single agent or do I want to join a team? Now, you can't just walk up to the Williams team and say, hey, I want to join. It don't work like that. Some teams have a certain brand. They have certain things in place where they only want a certain type of agent to be a part of it. And they can have that preference. It's not like you walking in giving an application. It doesn't work like that. Okay.
What are some of the things that they look for?
It just depends. I know there's some teams that want agents to not have a full-time job. They want you to be a full-time realtor. So they have different guidelines, and it's based off of what they know that works, right?
Okay.
If they have encountered working with agents that work part-time but they don't do numbers, are they really able to truly assist you, or are you really able to truly put everything into being a realtor, right? So I would say when you're having those conversations, have the conversations with your broker.
Gotcha.
Right? Because they're supposed to be there to help you grow your business. And then maybe they can direct you. And sometimes it's a matter of building a relationship. That's all real estate is. So if there is a team that you absolutely love and you see yourself on it, then present that value to that team leader. Letting them know, hey, I see myself being on this team. I just got my license. What can I do to show you that I'm hungry enough to compete and to pull my weight like everybody else?
Exactly.
Now,
Bring value to the
and
team.
bring the value. That's a perfect thing. And it all goes full circle, because guess who my team leader is? The guy that got me in real estate. His name's Rod.
Yeah, because you wasn't with him at first.
No.
She didn't even go at first.
Nope. So you see how important relationships are?
Definitely.
Right? And just making sure that you bring value all the time. Even if you're not under contract with the person. You never know in real estate when you're going to see that person again.
Exactly.
Right? Or when they can present value for you, but they already know, the integrity base and things like that. So I can't say, if you knew, you need to go be on a team. That's not true.
Up to you.
There's some rookie of the years that come out doing, $30 million a year.
Yeah.
Their first year. So I can't tell you. You just have to know how you are. Speak with whatever broker that you're going to be with, letting them know what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and then go from there.
That's what's up. So walk us through your first deal. Your first deal.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
How much did you make, if you don't mind telling me?
No, it's absolutely okay. So my first deal, I was actually at Keller Williams First Atlanta. It's the largest Keller Williams here in Atlanta. Now, I did interview with several brokerages, but I just really liked that team leader at the time. His name's Mike Ray. Super amazing human being. He's so awesome. So I just felt really, really good knowing that I want to start my business here, right? So I was actually sitting in one of the common areas because I didn't have any money for an office, right? I just started. Yeah. I don't have no money for this. So I was sitting in the common area, which is a great area to be because who's in there? Other people, right? Not you locked behind a door. I ain't made that much money yet to be like, oh, I don't need to talk to you. Nah. So I was there and I got a phone call and it was a lady. She was like, hey, I just saw this condo in Smyrna and we want to look at it. So first I'm like, how'd she get my number? And I was like, oh yes, okay. Can I ask how you got my information? Which you don't want to start like that, okay? But I didn't know, right? And she says, oh, I found you on the website. Oh, I'm like, what website? So when you go to your brokerage, they have all their agents there, kind of as like a directory, right? And my name's Kimolyn Adams Howard. So who's first? Yep. Me. Right. And then I had a nice picture too. I'm telling you, like,
yes,
the way you walk outside. Now, I don't look like this all the time. I don't. When I'm at home, but when I walk outside, I know that I am a walking billboard. Yep. And humbly, right? Because I want people to walk up to me and ask me questions. Like Zai said, I walked in the building downstairs. 3 people were like, oh, okay, I done gave my business card out. I've established that first impression. Rest assured that when we leave out of here, I'm going right back down there to talk to them, right? So I made sure that my picture looked nice. I mean, it wasn't a very expensive photo shoot or anything like that. I just had a nice picture. I actually took it in my car. But it was, I guess, appealing enough for them to say, hey, maybe she looks professional, right? Let's get her to help us.
Absolutely.
So I scheduled a consultation for them to meet me at the office because, one, I do not know who they are, right? My safety will be prioritized over any paycheck. Any paycheck. I will not deviate from my safety, precautions. And I've learned a lot of that with working in banks and stuff like that, a lot of training. So I invited them to the office, but she wasn't there. So here comes a man, and I'm like, wait a second. You're not who I talked to, right? And he says, oh, that's my wife. She's picking up the baby. They had just adopted a baby that morning. That morning. That's why they wanted to have a bigger space. So that's where that sense of urgency was, that she just had to hurry up and find somebody to help them because they needed to move into something bigger than their 1 bedroom that they had up in Smyrna. So I said, oh, okay. But I did feel comfortable because there's other agents around. It's a protected area. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel like they were going to do anything to me. So when she showed up, met the baby, I know, right? How sweet is that? And I'm just like mush at the moment, right? Because my daughter was like 3. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at the little baby. So we had that time to kind of get to know each other a little bit before we started talking about business.
And that's exactly how you build relationships.
You have, like I told you, relationships is most important. It's the most.
Connect with you.
Right, and that made them feel comfortable because guess what? Just like I didn't know who they were, they didn't know who I was, right? And they just adopted a baby. So emotions are so high. They're new parents now. Who's this lady I'm bringing around my child? So I just wanted to make sure that they felt safe with me, right? And then we did the consultation. But let me tell you how aggressive they were. They were like, okay, the consultation's great. Can we go see this? Okay. Do you have your pre-approval? Because I need to know that you can afford it before I go showing you houses. They had everything. I confirmed with the lender right on the spot.
Oh, wow. We
went to go and see the property. I wrote an offer that night. That morning it got accepted. We closed in 30 days.
30 days.
Wow.
Yeah. It's my first transaction. Let me tell you what's crazy. So when we were going to close, the seller took the washer and dryer. And they were supposed to leave it there, but the seller and the listing agent were going through divorce. Yeah, and their divorce had got final, and he was so upset. And I mean, it's real. I mean, it really happened.
Real estate streets.
Correct. So I'm just like, when I pulled up there to do our final walkthrough, that's why you do those. I was like, something's missing. It's a little light in here, right? It's a little light. That's the first thing that they noticed when they walked in the house. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. It wasn't a very expensive washer and dryer. It's in the contract that it was going to be left. And you took it in a petty way, right? So we got it settled before closing, which was great. Wow. But when we were at the closing table, everything got done. We went back to the house to celebrate. And they were like, oh my gosh, Kimolyn, how long have you been in business? You're my first people. But I was being honest, right? Because with me, there's no fluff. You know, meat and potatoes type girl is how I am. And I just told them, I said, y'all are my first client. And they were like, wow, we never knew it. But it's just because I just had the confidence that I'm going to do a good job. Mm-hmm. People can't smell the new real estate license on you unless you allow them to. But you just got to, be a professional, know your stuff, have systems in place, have a process so you're not scrambling, although I kind of was in the beginning when she called me. Mm-hmm. But it was a learning experience. So now when people call me, my intro is a little different than that. Yeah. So.
How much did you make on that deal?
So that condo was like $199. No. I'm lying. It was $299. So I think I made maybe like $5,000.
How did that make you feel?
I was like, yo. And then it gives you that, well, I wouldn't even call it a false narrative, but it gives you that, like, oh, okay, so all I got to do is work with one person every month, and that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Oh, okay, I'm going to be making $5,000 a month. That ain't how it works.
You think.
Right. Yeah. But once you, and this is something that, one of the more seasoned agents told me, that when you have a closing, you get fired.
Yep, you do.
So don't get comfortable. Like, oh, okay, cool, you can relax. Actually, you need to amp it up because you got to get your next closing.
Wait. You get fired? I've never heard that
Yeah,
before.
you get fired. Yeah,
they're done with you.
Wow.
Yep. They're done with you.
I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah, so I got fired. Yes, I got fired Wednesday, and I'm going to get fired today. I got a closing happening today. Oh, wow. So, yeah, I got fired twice this week. But we'll take it.
2 checks.
Wow, I never thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then you got to hunt again for somebody else.
Yes. Have to hunt again for somebody else. And it's not as easy as, oh, I want to buy a house. A lot of people want to buy a house. Can you buy a house?
Yeah, credit.
Can you?
Credit. Let's talk about credit.
Let's talk about credit. Yo, listen. So people don't really understand how important credit is, even if you have money.
Exactly.
They don't get it.
That guy, he had a lot of money.
Yeah. Like, the biggest thing that I need us to understand is that if you don't want to pay a lot of money for a mortgage, if you want the best options presented to you when you first start, please come prepared. Mm-hmm. And being prepared isn't necessarily what's your job. Do you have reserves for that? Because that is a portion of what they consider when they're going to give you your purchasing power, your pre-approval, or what you can afford. But your credit also plays a big part of it. Yes. When you're thinking about going to go buy a car, you want to have great credit, right? Because you don't want that 21% interest rate. You want something lower. But that's on something that's usually less than $50,000. Why not have the same mindset and hunger and determination when it comes to buying a house? Exactly. You're getting a interest rate on hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. And some people don't look at that last sheet at closing, where it shows you how much money you're going to pay once you pay this house off. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's 3 times the amount of what you're paying. So say if the house is $200,000 and at the end of it, you're $400,000, $500,000 in, don't you think it matters to make sure you have the best credit score coming in?
Absolutely.
Yep. It does.
But see, people don't really think about that because you see so many people promoting, 580 credit score, 590 credit score, I can get you in the house. And yes, they can. And everybody's situation is different, okay? I'm not saying in those situations where people have to move or, situations like my situation, I was at a 790 prior to me getting my divorce. A lot of people don't understand that when you go through a divorce, when they say it's like a death, it's not just, with your emotions, it's your finances also. My credit score dropped all the way to a 430. I don't even know what that looked like. I don't even know how to act with a 430, right? Because I've never been in that tier, right? And there's certain things that were not offered to me as they normally would be because I was in such a low place, right? And was it my fault 100%? No, but just, sometimes things like that happens when you go through a divorce. There's certain debts that people are fighting over and they don't care about y'all trying to figure it out. They're like, who paying this bill?
They want this money.
Right? So I do understand that there's sometimes where maybe you couldn't have the best score when you're looking to purchase because of life happening to you, right? But if you know that you are 2 to 3 years out from buying something,
get it right.
What you doing? Why are we having a conversation today in 2022 about you getting ready to buy a house in 2024 and your credit score right now is a 640 or a 620, and then I talk to you in 2024 and your credit score is a 620 or a 640?
Ridiculous.
It makes no sense. You have the time to fix whatever, and then that puts that pressure on your realtor. It puts that pressure on your lender because now life has happened or your goals is about to expire or this is what God told you that I'm going to be a homeowner in 2022. I'm sure he did. Praise God. But have you been preparing yourself to make sure that that's going to actually happen?
Exactly.
A lot of people aren't doing that.
You have any questions, Alexa?
Wow. No, this interview is good.
It's
really
really
good.
good.
Like,
That's so cute.
We're
that
just
is
listening.
a lot of this stuff people don't think about though. No, like grown adults don't think about their credit score till it's time to buy a car.
And that's why we're so, we advocate good credit, good credit, good credit. Start out with the basic credit card at
Discover
18
or whatever
and just
you
pay
wanna
for
do.
gas.
So I'm gonna tell y'all the setup that my mom did for me, right? Because I didn't just get a 790 just to have a 790. So when we got 17, my mom put us on one of her credit cards, and I know, right. And here's the thing: you could Google this stuff. It doesn't have to come from my mouth. It really happens, right? Yeah. You get added as an authorized user. Did my mama give me a credit card? She did not. She knows her daughter. She did not. But that was establishing, my credit profile, right, and building it. So once I turned 18, she was like, okay, I need you to go to a jewelry store, and we're going to open you up a credit card.
A store credit card.
Yes, your Zelles, your K's, all those places. Well, back home where I'm from, it was a small jewelry store. It wasn't like a K's or anything like that. It was called Michael's. But they did report to all 3 major credit bureaus. So I went there. I was working at Pizza Hut. Yes, honey, top server. You would walk in on Sunday buffet. I knew what you were drinking, and I knew what type of pizza that you wanted on the buffet. So don't get it twisted. But with being a server, how much money am I making?
Exactly.
Not a lot. So I got approved for a $300 in-store card. Now back then, gold wasn't as expensive as it is now. So I got like this, and I still have it. It's just this little gold anklet. I think it was like $150. Which was like the cheapest thing that I could get, right? But I paid on it.
Yes.
So every time I got paid, every week, I went and I paid on it. And before I turned 19, they bumped me up to like $2,000.
That's kind of what happened with me. Chase just upped my limit $2,000 out of nowhere.
Yep. They upped me $2,000, and then I started getting like offers in the mail for other cards and stuff like that. So I just picked 2. I picked Capital One and I picked Discover. Those were the 2 cards that I got. And I just, I don't live off, and I still don't. You don't live off your credit cards. You just don't. So if there was something that I wanted to do every month, like I've been getting my nails done since I was 13 years old. So every month I would just use one of my credit cards to get my nails done, and one of my credit cards to put gas in my car. I know it sounds so simple, but
a lot of people,
But that's the conditioning, because can I trust you to pay all your bills on the credit card and pay it off if you can't just get gas and pay it off? If you can't just get your nails done and pay it off? Because they'll go get their nails done, or they'll go pay their mortgage and then be like, oh, I got an extra $1,500. You do not.
It's not your money. If it's not in your regular checking savings account, it's not yours.
No, you need to make sure that balance is not rolling over on that next statement date. You need to just think about your credit card as your debit card.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
On your debit card, you don't get to pay them back.
Exactly.
Your
and
money.
That's what we've been doing for the longest. Like, really, like, honing in on credit. Because if you start at 18, 17, imagine where you're going to be at 21.
I think it's super dope, though, that y'all, how old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18, Zai?
19.
So young, right? Like, already understanding this. But I'll tell you this, though. Like, even when you guys speak about it, don't take the stance of, the older people should know better. Because here's the thing. They don't.
Yeah.
Because you have to think about who their parents are, right?
Yeah.
Did they really push financial literacy? I mean, even y'all right now in high school, did you have a class that taught you, unless you went to a private school, but public schools, they're not teaching that.
Public schools are not teaching
They're not teaching it. So you have to think about it. They're one of the biggest reasons I know that your family is really, really, submerged in real estate and things like that. And that's a blessing. Not everybody has that to go home to, right? Yeah. So one of the reasons why you guys are so educated about it is social media. Every time you turn on something, like our phones is listening to us right now, we're gonna see an ad about something about financial literacy when we leave here, right? But when you're talking about people that are 40 and 50 years old or 30-year-olds, if they don't have people around them that understand what we understand, they only understand what they know.
Exactly.
And they've just been surviving, and the thought is, I just want to get out of my mama's house, and if I can't buy a house, because how can I buy a house for $300,000 and if I'm just renting? But they don't understand. Sometimes you're paying more in a rental than you would be if you bought a house. But then also, let's be realistic. Those apartments know what they're doing when they make them luxurious apartments.
They want to keep you staying there.
They want to keep you staying there because your budget may not be so luxurious out here in the real estate market, right?
But at least it'll be yours, not theirs.
Right. But it's just to reprogram people to understand that it's better to have something that belongs to you other than something that doesn't belong to you. Because if that building burned down, then what? You have to move. What money did you get outside of the insurance money? Nothing. And now you're back at another apartment.
Which is ridiculous. It's crazy. Real estate, I love real estate. And, I just love real estate. It's just so amazing. Like, everything is real estate. I think a lot of people don't understand it. Like, this building is real estate. Like, everything. So I always recommend people at least learn about real estate, because one day you will be a homeowner, or you will have like a front end space or your own store. So everything is real estate.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Have any more questions?
No, I don't have any more questions. I mean, with real estate, just killed it.
You know what? Get out of here, guys. But no, I think that this is great, though, that you guys are creating this platform for people to have this type of, conversation. Because sometimes people are, I would say, a little embarrassed maybe to talk about it, because now everybody's so fluent in financial literacy, and everybody got 700 credit scores, and everybody flipping houses, and everybody know how to trade stock, you know what I mean? So it can be extremely intimidating for someone who doesn't know that. But to create that space, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you speak about it, right? When you say things like, oh, it's crazy that people that age, you just got to really think about it from their perspective. Nobody ever taught them. So when you come from a place of value, when you're speaking to them, but you also have to make sure that your approach is going to be accepted, right? Yeah, I know a lot of stuff, but there's sometimes I have a different posture when I'm going to different rooms, right? I can go in a room with investors and talk about certain things, and I don't have to break nothing down because I'm fluent in speaking that language, right? But then when I go in a household of generational renters, grandma, great-grandma, great-great-grandma, aunts, great-aunts, uncles, I cannot walk in there. I even dress differently. I don't want anybody to feel intimidated by me because the goal is what? For you to truly understand about generational wealth. And if I have to continue to humble myself to make sure the message gets to everybody, that's the responsibility that you have when you got the knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Very powerful.
Wow.
This conversation has been amazing.
Oh,
I
he's
love
so cute.
this.
He's so cute. He's
I
so
love
cute.
this. Well,
Oh,
how
yeah,
about you
this
go
is
ahead
great.
and end us out, Lex?
Thank you so much for coming on, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
You did not have to do this, but you did. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, she missed the whole closing, y'all.
I did a closing. I had it on Wednesday. It got pushed back. This market's super crazy. But I was able to make sure I took care of my client 100%. We're all good. I'll be meeting with him right after this. But I wanted to support you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on, you guys. Anybody listening, every Sunday at 2 p.m. we do drop a new EP. We have Money Mondays, I apologize, every Monday at 8 p.m. on our Instagram. So make sure to tune in. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.